So here we are again, coming to you from the Live Streams Thailand YouTube channel. My name is Warren. This is Dr. William Waite. We're here with you again. And I want to mention briefly, quickly, that William is on Clubhouse. If any of you are on Clubhouse and interested, you can follow him there, William Waite. You can follow his club, Live Streams. And there's a room that we do at least once a week. It's on Friday nights in the U.S. Called Live Streams Journey to Now. So, having said that, today I want to talk about the reality that here we are. Reality is now. In our episode 1, we kind of defined this premise. This is where we're starting. We're starting in the now because we really have no other choice. Can you tell the fine people about how that is?
Well, we have memory, and we have the ability to project into the future. And as we go through our lives, we spend much of our time identifying with our memories or our plans or our ideas about the future. But the bottom line is that we're doing that in the present moment, and that can get lost. I mean, you're reading a book that you're really interested in, and 2 hours later you look up and you say, "Oh, where did the time go?" It's like you weren't presently aware in that moment. You were involved in the experience that you had. Yet you were there, your body was there, your feelings were there, everything was there. What happens is the more present-centered that we become, the more we become aware of these different streams, both the richer and deeper and broader our experience becomes. If we make it a habit of paying attention to the now, whatever we do just gains immeasurably in terms of the depth of that experience.
When you talk about that, I'm reminded of talking with a therapist about, say, for example, some bad experience or bad circumstance that you grew up in, or some trauma, and obviously memory. Our learning is based in memory. If we can't remember stuff, then it's hard to make much progress as a human being. But when someone says, "I am the way I am because of what happened to me," this is what occurred to me when you were talking about that just now, because it suggests that the effect of my history, positive or negative or indifferent or whatever, the effect of my history is one-to-one with the person that I am right now. And it sounds like to me that what you were just saying does not bear that
out. Right, and this is really, to me, this is the real growing edge. I identify with the historical memories that I had. I call that my self-image. So as you say, I'm the way that I am, I'm William, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. And all of those are built on the memory experiences that I've had. And here I am at the same time. So I can bemoan an experience from the past, but that's gone. That's no longer there except in memory. Now I can disidentify with being here and now, and I can go into that memory, and I can have emotionality, and I can remember the environment, etc., etc. But I'm still doing that here and now.
You can experience, relive a joyous moment.
Sure.
In the same way.
But see, what's happening is I'm using the memory to connect with, say, the joyous moment. Now, the real challenge, as I see it, is I'm a whole person. I'm everything that I am. So my joy is sitting in the here and now. It isn't back there. back there acts as a trigger to
Mm.
connect up what's happening here. I am joy, I'm sorrow, I'm anger, I'm all those things. And if I'm in my wholeness, I start allowing my reality to expand and deepen. So, say, I was a kind of introverted little kid, and I played the saxophone and stayed at home and didn't play sports, blah blah blah. And I got quiet. It was like my aggressive, natural urges for assertion didn't come out, but they're still here. Now, I could say that, oh, that's just not part of me. But if I'm here as a whole human being, I have it all. I have the joy and the sorrow and all of it. I can start getting curious about who I am. And as I get curious about it, I can take, say, love. I have love inside of me. And it's sitting with me now because I have all of me. I can start looking into that experience or any other experience.
I want to link this up to something that's been very near and dear to my heart over the years. As a college undergraduate, my major was anthropology.
Yeah.
And so during that time, becoming more and more aware of the importance of enculturation and how our learning, almost everything that we learn about how to be a human being comes through some cultural expression, depending on, when you were born, where you grow up, who are the people around you, what are those circumstances, and just how powerful that is for good or for ill, or for indifference, I don't know. But the creation of a self-image, a historical identity, is greatly influenced by the cultural lens that your surroundings give you, or the lessons that that people teach you or give you. And so what it does is it gives me this really neat tool, but it's a filter. It's on top of the layer of the live streams, for example, the quadrants, the me and the here and now. And it can be incredibly useful. I mean, it is.
It's a practical tool.
It's a practical tool. I keep remembering and laughing about those quotes that you showed me. McKenna saying that culture is not your friend, and Dr. Wade over here saying culture is not your enemy. So I guess at the end of the day, I would just come away saying that culture is. And so it's very instrumental, it's very useful, it's a tool, it helps me create my self-image, which is linked to the historical identity,
Yeah.
which I use to create my self-image and my identity in the present. I'm doing that right now.
Right.
So much, most of it, almost all of it is below my conscious level of awareness, but I'm doing it right now. I create my self-image.
Right. And that's part of who you are. The difficulty, the challenge, and the interesting thing is that that's part of who you are. As we sit here, we can recognize, and I hope you people in the audience recognize, you're a whole person. And the self-image is how you've been configured to define yourself, but it's always limited. And there's always a deeper, more interesting, more full experience awaiting for you. We've talked about it in terms of our travels. Both of us have lived in other cultures that have added a dimension on our identities that we didn't have before we left the States. So every time you travel, you open up the possibility for more depth and more breadth in your own experience. But you can do that, and that's what Life Streams is about. It's about, let's sit here and let's start examining and deepening our experience in terms of the now. what's happening to me on a sensory level, happening to me on an emotional level, on an intellectual level, on an intuitive level.
I'm very glad that you mentioned that. Uh, Again, just emphasizing that it happens here in the now. Because when I began to travel, I had this idea that I would leave the boring little place that I grew up in, and I would go to these exotic, exciting places because the excitement was out there somewhere. And what I found was that in each of those places, if I got to know anybody there particularly well, they had a very similar experience to the one that I had at home. What was an exotic place for me might be drudgery for them because they're habituated to it. I was habituated to something else. And so this, for me, I would say that the benefit of travel, it helped my awareness, and you broaden and you deepen in that way, but I wasn't adding anything that I didn't already have. And had I known that, had I talked to William 25 years ago or whatever it was, no, I still would have traveled, but I wouldn't have had the idea that I'm missing something because, as you said, I'm a whole person.
Yes. Right.
And I create the I. So as we move into further into this series, in the next video and perhaps the next several after it, we're gonna be looking at different things that this implies. That I'm always present in the now, whether I'm aware of it or not, or how aware of it I am or not, in the four streams, and at the same time through my cultural filter and all of these other things, I create my historical self-image, and it's valuable, it's useful, but it also presents some challenges. Namely, sometimes it disrupts my awareness of where I am, because the fact of the matter, at the end of the day, here we are.
In our wholeness.